The day they dragged Lydia Carson out of Crestmont Bank and changed everything. Lydia Carson told herself it would just be a quick 30-minute meeting. In and out, sign the final compliance documents, verify a few account authorizations, smile, nod, and get back to her real work. She had done this 100 times before. There was no reason to expect today would be any different. But from the moment Lydia stepped into the gleaming marble-floored lobby of Crestmont National Bank, she sensed the shift. It wasn't loud. It wasn't even overt at first. It was the way the receptionist, a young white woman with frosted pink lipstick and a tight, professional bun, hesitated mid-keystroke when Lydia entered. Her eyes skimmed over Lydia's designer handbag, her sharp heels, her impeccably tailored blazer. But they didn't settle there. They drifted to Lydia's face, paused a fraction too long. "Can I help you?" the receptionist asked, her tone sharp with suspicion rather than welcome. "Yes," Lydia replied smoothly, her voice calm, accustomed to walking through rooms that weren't built for her. "I have a 2 o'clock appointment with Vice President Aaron Pierce." The receptionist tapped at her keyboard, lips pressed tight. "And your name?" "Lydia Carson." There was a beat of silence. Then clicking keys. Another pause. "Do you have documentation?" Lydia blinked slowly. "Documentation? An ID, business credentials, verification." Wordlessly, Lydia opened her wallet. She produced her driver's license, her corporate badge, and a business card reading President and CEO Carson Ventures International. She slid them across the counter with the steady grace of a woman who had played this game far too many times. The receptionist took them like they might dirty her manicured fingers. She placed a call low voice, darting glances, nervous fidgeting. Finally, she hung up. "Mr. Pierce will be down shortly. You can wait over there," she said, gesturing without warmth toward a seating area filled with plush leather chairs. Lydia turned, her heels clicking crisply against the tile. But before she reached the couches, 2 security guards, broad-shouldered men in black jackets, emerged from around corner. They weren't confused. They were ready. "Ma'am," one said firmly, stepping into her path, "we need you to come with us." Lydia blinked once. "Excuse me? Just a quick check. Won't take long. I'm here for a scheduled meeting with a senior executive," she said, her voice measured. "You can confirm with the receptionist." "We already did," the second guard said, hand already hovering near his walkie-talkie. And just like that, the air shifted again. Cold. Watching. The tellers behind their desks went still. Clients paused their conversations mid-sentence. Eyes turned, curious, judgmental, unkind. "You are making a mistake," Lydia said evenly. "You're causing a disturbance, ma'am," the first guard said. Classic. Flip the script. Make the calm black woman into the problem. Before she could respond again, a firm hand clamped onto her elbow. Not rough, but deliberate. Public. The humiliation wasn't in the force. It was in the visibility. Without raised voices. Without so much as a scene. Lydia Carson, whose company managed billions of dollars in assets across the country, was marched out of Crestmont National Bank like an intruder. Outside, the midday sun struck her face like a slap. The glass doors sealed behind her with a cold hiss. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered. "Lydia Carson?" a man's voice asked. "Yes. This is Aaron Pierce. I just got a call. Please tell me you're not already in the parking lot." "I didn't even make it to the couches," Lydia said, her voice like ice. "Stay right there," he said urgently. "I'm coming down." Inside, the receptionist fidgeted. The guards exchanged uncertain looks. Too late now. Lydia stood tall on the sidewalk. She wasn't shaking. She wasn't shouting. She was calculating. Because this wasn't just today. This was every flight she'd been randomly selected for additional screening. Every conference where someone asked if she worked catering. Every boardroom where she was mistaken for someone's assistant. Today was simply the day she had receipts. 10 minutes later, Aaron Pierce came barreling through the glass doors, panic all over his face. "Lydia, I am so sorry." But it was too late. Because while Aaron was scrambling, Lydia had already made the most important call. Not to a lawyer, not to the police, to her executive team. 3 hours later, Carson Ventures International froze every transaction, every loan application, every partnership pending with Crestmont National Bank. Over $300 million locked with a single phone call. Inside her car, Lydia wasn't crying. She wasn't even angry. She was noting the receptionist's shift in tone, the security guard's posture, the employee's silent complicity. Every detail, every timestamp, every face turned away. Later, when Aaron tried to apologize, stammering promises about retraining and reprimanding a few bad apples, Lydia simply stared at him. "You think this is about a rude employee?" she asked softly. "It's systemic. It's protocol. It's the way your organization treats people who don't fit your idea of belonging." When he tried to pivot, offered to personally walk her through the paperwork, promised a public apology, she smiled thinly. "No, Mr. Pierce," she said. "We're not signing anything today." He paled. "You can't just walk away from this deal." "I'm not walking away," Lydia corrected. "I'm shutting it down." She paused. "And you can tell your board exactly why." When a video surfaced, shaky cell phone footage from a witness who had been sitting quietly in the corner, the story exploded. Lydia didn't release a statement immediately. She let it breathe. By that evening, Lydia Carson wasn't just a CEO. She was a movement. Within 48 hours, Carson Ventures announced the Equity Accountability Initiative, a first-of-its-kind independent audit program for financial institutions. Banks, lenders, service providers all scored publicly on transparency, racial equity, and community trust. Participation was voluntary, but refusal would speak louder than any score. Lydia wasn't interested in boycotts or press conferences. She was interested in changing the cost of doing business. And she did. First, Crestmont lost $300 million. Then, other companies eager not to be the next viral story scrambled to comply, to apologize, to beg for inclusion. By the end of the quarter, over 50 institutions had voluntarily submitted to full audits. The Equity Index launched nationally. Banks that failed the audit were named. Those who retaliated against whistleblowers were exposed. Those who refused to adapt were dragged into sunlight. Lydia Carson wasn't looking for revenge. She was building a new standard. Weeks later, she stood at the head of a long oak conference table in her downtown headquarters, not a glass lobby built for exclusion, but a space designed for power, transparency, and belonging. Around her sat leaders who once thought they could dismiss her. Now, they leaned in to listen. Behind her, a screen flickered to life. The Equity Index, redefining trust in American finance. "This isn't about shaming the past," Lydia said calmly. "It's about defining the future." Outside, the city pulsed alive, growing, reshaping. And for the first time in a long time, Lydia Carson wasn't knocking on any more doors. She was building her own, one that didn't require permission to walk through.